Alright, we are recording, and as this will be for the thumbnail, states, this is the Forgotten City. There's the game. Key was provided. Sorry, my tongue is getting a little tied in there. Key was provided by Tinsley PR for Dear Villagers, that's the publisher. And, as it says over there, Dear content creators. Wow, my tongue really does not want to work today. As you'll discover, this game is full of intrigue and plot twists. Please help us to avoid spoilers by not sharing content from beyond the white hallway so that others can fully enjoy what awaits. Now, this is what I'm thinking, because I do prefer to, have a complete review playthrough. I'm thinking that I can basically leave some of them as unlisted. Basically, any past the white hallway, this is what I'm thinking. I'll have them unlisted, so you can't just search for them. And I can also age gate them. And we'll try to also say something in the videos when we get to that. I have no idea where the white hallway is. Hopefully it's not like 10 minutes in. It might be, though. But if I can also age gate just those videos, so that way if you're not logged in, you would have to log in to view the videos. Not really the correct use of age gating, but we don't have like spoiler. I don't think YouTube offers a spoiler gate. That would be neat, wouldn't it? To have a spoiler gate feature. Anyway, that's what I'm thinking. Since I do sometimes go through these, I was really hoping to find a language of Latin in here, but depending, one of the trailers, I caught something where it's like, yeah, that's gonna annoy me. We'll see how it goes. Okay. Yep, surrounding borderless. Actually, that can be. Yeah, motion blur was at 100%. I did turn that down because I don't like it. And this is just what it was set to. The only things I touched were motion blur and screen mode because it was on full screen. And you just saw me touch vertical sync. I did. It's weird, I'll just say, to have master volume not at 100% when you first launched game. It was at 80. Just throwing that out there. It's like, why? What? I mean, there's nothing in master volume that's not controlled by these. So that that should always be at 100%. When I'm just saying, it doesn't make sense to have that lower as a default. That should be max. The other things can be lower, affecting the balance. But it is also kind of weird with this, where it's like all these are at 80%, so there's nothing at 100%, and then music is low. It's like, could do that a little bit. I'm just, spouting weird stuff, but it's like, that is odd. Yep, just, going through them, so you see, crouch is on both C and control. Little odd that they have it listed that way twice, but whatever. I'm not using controller, so I don't care about that. There. And yeah, we can hit new game, although I do want to say one thing. I do have some like guide document stuff, including it includes some information that would be spoilers. I am not looking at that, but there's one thing, just so that you understand what I'm going to be doing here, and I don't think that this is a spoiler. Hopefully I don't get in trouble. The game has 4 endings. The fourth one is the canon ending, is how it was described. But 1, 2, and 3 sort of branch off the main story, but if you keep at it, keep down the main story, you get to ending 4, the canon ending. So that's what I'm going to try to go for. Hopefully I will encounter everything properly. I don't know, we'll see. I also, hang on, I just want to look here. Okay, yeah, some of those are going to be... There are known issues that will be fixed for launch, okay? To be clear, because I am playing this ahead of release. Quest updates may be delayed very occasionally, it says, so, yeah. That's something that I probably would notice. Lip sync and facial animations are still being polished, so if there's something wonky there, don't worry about it. Lighting balance and character animations may also have some things to them, so yeah. In other words, if you see that stuff, don't worry. But as usual, I would say don't worry about a lot of the stuff you may see, because this is not the release build. It's near it, though. And there's probably some other stuff that they're not listing. Just as it's like, hey, we haven't made those tweaks yet on anything in them, or just stuff can be discovered late. Remember with Evil Genius 2, I found. So this is based off of a mod for Skyrim? Never played that. The mod. I've played Skyrim. The mod I've never. Is that me or? Okay.
You're alive! When I dragged you out of the river, I thought you were never gonna wake up. I checked your pockets for ID, a phone, maybe. I hope you don't mind. But all I found was some loose change. So, wanna tell me who you are?
Okay. I am not really sure what the difference is here. Go with that one.
Well, it's nice to meet you. And I'm sorry to pry, but any idea why you were floating down the river? What's the last thing you remember?
Okay, this I like. The system. I'm gonna go with this one. But just how you do have the stories there, but you do need to read. It would be nice if they did have a little pull out there giving you the brief of it, because like your time on the run from authority, it's made you quick on your feet. It's like we don't need that. Just also give a box beneath. Well, true. This does also make you read it. It's not that long.
Oh, you're an archaeologist? Then you'll definitely want to hear this. I don't know if it's exactly what you're looking for, but there are some ruins just behind you. Roman, I think. I need you to go in there and see if you can find a guy named Al for me. He went in there a few hours ago, and he hasn't come out. I've been freaking out, wondering if he's trapped or injured or worse. I would have gone in after him, but he made me promise to stay here, no matter what. There's no way I'm leaving without him, so I'm just kind of stuck here, waiting. What I mean is, I was hoping you wouldn't mind going in there to find him? If you can do that, I can get both of you back to civilization in my boat. Please? Oh, of course. Sorry, I don't mean to be pushy. What do you want to know? Oh, there's not much to tell. Feels like I've spent my whole life in a dead-end job with an endless commute. Know what I mean? Oh, I'd rather not say if it's all the same to you. All right, fine. Sorry if I sounded cagey, it's just that I don't always get the best reactions when I introduce myself. My name's Karen. He's the guy who washed up on the riverbank not long before you did. I thought maybe you two knew each other. I guess not. But maybe the two of you can piece together what you're doing here. In any case, you'll like him, I'm sure. Once you find him, that is. You really don't remember? We're in Italy. This river is the Tiber.
Before going too far, I do want to make some notes here. Apparently rescued from a river, aimed by a stranger. His name Karen. And I have a feeling she's tied in with the city. Just the whole she doesn't want to go in and all that. Just gives me that feeling. Also, it's a video game. Everything's connected. Um, also, from the river. Sure, why she feels so connected to him as a stranger. Do something she is not comfortable doing. Select body type by going between faces on a coin, but it is very unclear what kind of impact it may have at the time, and the faces are not that deep. Could also just be a joke that your appearance in an FPS is a flip of a coin. I mean, it did occur to me that it could just be a joke. Where it's like, no, your appearance doesn't matter. You also get to introduce yourself as having some background with each option, giving giving some advantage with that gets extra knowledge of rules. And I also just remembered something I forgot to care earlier. I use a script to get the PNG screenshots into the review folder, and I forgot to set that up, so I just opened it up so I'll remember. Okay.
Not much, really. But imagine what you might find in there. Priceless ancient artifacts. Al... What am I, an idiot? You could hike a long, long way in any direction and never find another soul. Trust me.
We're in the middle of Italy? Somehow I doubt... I mean, what do you count as a long, long time? I mean, if nothing else, if you know where the sun is, either go towards it or away from it, and you'll run into the Mediterranean, at which point go north or south, and you're bound to run into a town, because the Mediterranean has people living on it. I mean, also, you're on the Tiber River. You go up or down the river, you're going to run into Rome eventually. It is on the Tiber. Well, if you go one way, if you go another, you'll just run to a different town that's also on the Tiber.
Great. So you're ready to go look for Al?
I'm tempted, but I won't. It's also possible that this stranger is here more so because, like, if it was a mod in Skyrim, it might have been this is how you actually start the quest. But no, seriously, I just feel like if you get lost, if you know generally you're in what country you're in, like in Italy, it's like, okay, knowing that shape, I can, take certain paths that will ultimately lead me to somebody. But it's also, if you're on a river, a lot of rivers have have like towns built on them because it's running water, and we'll probably have fish in there that can be caught and used for food. I mean, and there'd be animals coming there as well, so that there's hunting purposes. I mean, that's a good spot to be lost. Let's see.
Thank you. The entrance is just past those columns behind you. Please, hurry. Oh, and he left this here. But I think you'll need it more than I will.
No, just out of curiosity, think there are people that can recognize the specific engine this is in because of the use of these leave assets? Because I'm sure I've seen them before in other games. But then it's also possible that those assets are used across many engines. Wow, that's not impressive water flow. I mean, to be fair, the mod was originally created by one person. I saw it's 3 people on this dev team, so it doesn't have to look, wildly impressive. And also, the important thing to a game, especially for this one, is going to be more so the story. Gameplay also needs to be solid, but it's like the story is the thing that I'd be most concerned with having it nailed, because the gameplay is going to be based on that. Right. Why you believe it?
If you're reading this, it means I've discovered the entrance to an ancient Roman city hidden deep underground. Its existence is long forgotten. All knowledge of it lost.
Crap. Hang on. Can I want to finish the note! I didn't realize that would happen! And you can apparently step on the fire. Sorry, it's just... I wasn't expecting to suddenly fall.
If you're reading this, it means I've discovered the entrance to an ancient Roman city hidden deep underground. Its existence is long forgotten. All knowledge of it lost, except in the Latin inscription here. It reads, "You who wish to enter the city, step forth and be judged. The virtuous shall be rewarded with eternal life in paradise. The wicked shall find themselves showered in gold, but in vain, for this shall be their final resting place." Could an underground city have remained a secret for all this time? Could people have survived down there, against the odds? It seems there's only one way to find out. If I'm not back in an hour, I'm somewhere on the other side. Consider this an invitation, or a warning. Al Worth.
Okay. There actually was a town discovered. Okay. This was a long time ago now. That was actually like an ancient Roman town that had been, I think it was in the Alps, and basically was cut off from civilization, so it actually endured the fall of Rome. And I think they also still spoke a version of Latin. It had developed, but independent of other societies. I'd have to look that up. This was many years ago that it was found. But I think I am remembering correctly that it was found. I'm not just, making that up. Always look around everywhere. Please don't let this be the white hallway. Okay. I'm not gonna step in the water. That seems rude. So that's something I, being an archaeologist, am able to do. It has been too long. I took Latin too. It means... I mean, in theory I could pull out some of my notes and try to figure it out. So it's only the ones that are like sitting just around that you can inspect. So like this one in theory I can't. Nope. Oh. Nice. Yay. Function 5. Because remember I'm on K65. Or I'd be in my 60%. But no, I'm using the JWK unlubed linears that I got from one of the keyboards, so they are now lubricated. I did that over the weekend, ahead of getting started on them. Yeah, I took 3 years of Latin in high school, which would make that 11, 12 years ago. And there was something, we'll see how it is in here, but there was something in one of the trailers where it's like, nope, despite all this time, I remember that's not right. Romans really loved their archers. They also really, really loved straight line. Like the I'm trying to remember which one was, but they would go to great extremes to have an aqueduct be straight. Like they would just go carve all the way through a mountain to keep the grade on it, the angle down, constant. Or they would figure out how to have it. That's Al. But yeah, they did not like doing curves.
To whoever reads this, I'm sorry you had to find me like this. And worse, that you'll suffer the same fate I did. I've spent a lifetime in this place, going around and around in circles, searching for a way out. The inscription was right. There is no way back. In here, there are only two options. Death, or that godforsaken doorway into the past. I made the mistake of stepping through it. I wanted to set things right. And I tried. I really tried. Whatever I did, took me right back to the beginning. Don't make the same mistake. Better to end it all now, and find out what awaits you beyond that portal.
You know what I'm very slightly, with how he put that, very slightly in vibes of? Scano Sombre. Which, quite a different game, but I just, this kind of, the looping to it remind me. And the door. I was hoping to walk around a little bit. Hey, now in Stargate. No, seriously, this is like helping me to Stargate Atlantis. Oh. And later, SG-1, they did eventually bring that different graphic for the wormhole travel to it. What's up? Ah.
Salve, friend. I'm Galerius.
Not correct.
Mind telling me who you are and what you were doing in the Shrine of Proserpina?
Let's start with something easy, but Latin has no V sound, also it doesn't have a J sound, so that is written correctly, but it would be pronounced saw way. Okay? So it's also like Julius Caesar, I came, I saw, I conquered. That's not Vini Vidi Vici, it's Weenie Weedy Vici. It's also, and it is also, they don't have any soft consonants, so it is we chi, not like we see. Since it's V-I-C-I.
Yeah, you know, agricultural goddess of springtime? You're not from around here, are you? Oh, I see what you did there, changing the subject like that. Nice try. But I'll ask again, who are you, and what were you doing in the shrine? What? I'm speaking Latin. You are too, although your accent's a little strange. And you've just done it again. You're a sly one, aren't you? One more time. Who are you, and what were you doing in that shrine? No idea what you're talking about. Oh, wait. Are you a bit, not right in the head? That's all right, friend. Everyone's welcome here. We sort of lose track of the date down here, but it feels like the beginning of spring to me, so I'd say early March? It's 817 AUC. Sorry, you look confused. 817 years since the founding of Rome. Which part of the empire are you from, exactly? CE? No idea what you're talking about. But listen, most folks seem a bit confused when they get here, but you seem very lost, and in more ways than one. So let me make this nice and simple for you. Live by our law here, and we'll all get along just fine.
I just feel like pointing out, given how this guy's presenting himself, you would use AD. Because even without the whole, like, which is more appropriate, it's like, he'd understand that. And for one thing, AD is Anno Domini. It is Latin. But it's also, you'd think he'd have some consciousness of the Christians, since, well, actually, would they have already started the persecutions by now? Or would that have waited? Like the serious. Not sure, but they would have been aware of at least some of the stuff.
Not laws, law. There's just one, the golden rule, and the punishment for breaking it's kind of horrific. But our magistrate insists we take all newcomers to see him, so I guess I'll let him fill you in. So then, you coming? Follow me. When I first arrived, I couldn't believe there were people living down here. But, as you can see, we've got a nice little community.
Oh, that's amazing.
Only 20...
Can I? Yes, I can. Alright, please, at the beginning, when you first enter the city, you can just press E to follow the guy guiding without any other input, without having to worry about your speed. I'm sorry, that is so worthy of a note, because there's so many games where you are always, for whatever reason, you walk faster than the other people. And if you try crouching to slow yourself, nope, now you're slower than them. And it's also, you don't always know the path they're taking, and it can be a little wild. But with this, it's like, nope. You hit E, and you are just following perfectly.
3 of us
Yes.
at the moment, if you count the 3 who are missing. No idea how, since nobody knows a way out. But it's just big and dark enough to get lost in, if you're not careful.
Aren't you going to introduce me to your pretty new friend, Galerius?
Keep it in your loincloth, Aurelia. I'm taking her to see the magistrate.
That pompous old bore won't be magistrate for much longer. Anyone who helps vote him out today drinks at my bar for free tonight.
Politics. I'd stay clear of it and her if I were you. She's... it's not my place to say. Down on your right is our farm, where I grow all the food you'll ever want. As long as all you want is leek, cabbage, and wheat. Huh. That one usually gets a chuckle.
The bloodless shadows wander without flesh or bone.
Don't mind Livia. She means well. She's just been in a bad place since... Well, you know, I don't know what happened to her. Up here on your right is the chasm. If you've got a weapon, it belongs way down at the bottom. Up on your left is the forum, where you can visit the market or get yourself patched up in Lucretia's clinic in the Shrine of Apollo. Most of us have almost nothing, just what we had on us when we arrived, and what we've been able to make and scrounge up since. And this central plateau is where the magistrate and the other patricians live, so don't expect a warm welcome.
Galerius, you're meant to be working the farm, not trudging dirt into the villas.
Take it easy, Horatius. I was just taking our new friend here to see the magistrate.
Well, he's asked me to escort the newcomer personally. The farm. Go. Now.
You'd better go with him. But just remember, they're not like you and me. Don't let them use you.
What was that? What did you just say?
I said it'll take some getting used to.
Yeah, I'm watching you, farm boy. Greetings, citizen. My name's Horatius. Magistrate Sentius asked me to escort you to him personally. Follow me, please.
I am thinking it would be, because they're using the soft T sound there, so it should actually be Horatius. Or Horatius,
I expect the magistrate wants to brief you about the Golden Rule. It shouldn't take too long. He's busy preparing for the election later today. Follow me. The only thing you really need to understand right now is the Golden Rule. Let me see if I can explain it this way. When I was serving in the Legion, if there was a mutiny brewing in one cohort, the legate in charge wouldn't waste time finding the bad apples among hundreds. They just divided us into groups of 10, made us draw straws, and whoever drew the short straw had to be executed by the other 9.
That's where the word decimate comes from, by the way. So it's also kind of used incorrectly today. It's used too much as a synonym for annihilate. Annihilate would be to destroy all. Decimate is actually saying you destroy a 10th. And that is actually what they would do. If there was a concern of mutiny amongst a Roman legion or whatever the group would be, they would divide them into 10 separate groups, and the loser gets killed. The Romans took discipline very seriously. And even though it's like, yeah, the ones that maybe want to do mutiny would survive, or at least most of them would, 90% of them, in theory, would, you don't want that to happen. You don't want to go through decimation. So, yeah.
Didn't matter whether he'd done anything wrong. One of us in 10 would die for the crimes of the collective. We call it decimation. If that seems like rough justice to you, you're in for a rude shock. Because the Golden Rule is exactly 10 times worse. The magistrate can explain the rest. Who's up these stairs?
But yeah, that is...
Oh,
real thing.
don't mind me. I just live here. Oh, I wish Horatius would stop letting barbarians in here. What do you want? I'm Sentia, eldest daughter of the magistrate. But you'd know that if you'd been invited in here and introduced properly. What are you doing in here? And why are you dressed like that? Really? I'd never have noticed, what with your flawless accent, appropriate attire, and impressive mastery of our customs. Now, remind me, why are we having this conversation?
Yeah, I'm just gonna
I
go.
trust you can see your...
So I just feel like that's the way that conversation has gone. It's definitely gonna be best to just like continue, get talk to him, and then come back and talk to people. I will always wear it. Oh, I promise. No, it should. Yeah, I promise I will wear it always. That actually, I want to say, is not that uncommon for ancient Rome, where his name is Sentius and the daughter being named Scintilla, which is basically just a feminine form of his name. Although it is a little, well, no, yeah, actually, Sentia would be the feminine form of Sentius. Scintilla is slightly different. Yeah, US is typically the masculine ending to a word. Whereas A there is the feminine. So Scintilla is a little bit different, but you would see stuff like that. And it's also like you would have generations named by numbers. So like you have people named Quintus, and it would be men named Quintus, which they're 5. That is actually how they did. Oh, there can be multiple pages. But yeah, it would be, sort of like junior. And actually, yeah, they would have had junior as well. That's how you would have been doing, like, Quintus and such. But yeah, you would see names passed down like that. As I recall, that is actually part of how it worked.
We're finally alone. I assume you already know who I am. May I know your name? A curious name to match a curious accent. But I digress. I see you have the piercing and astute eyes of Athena.
So that side of the coin was a woman? I honestly did not realize it. I didn't see any facial features on the coin. Whatever.
Equitia will be delighted to meet you, I'm sure. Now, you're probably wondering why I summoned you, and I'll get to that. But first, take a look at this wondrous place, would you? A secret city built deep in the mountains, many hundreds of years ago. Indeed. More importantly, consider the miraculous community we've built here over the last 7 months. 22 complete strangers brought together by the fates, living and working together in our own little paradise. And in all that time, not a single sin has been committed. No fights, no theft, nothing. Have you ever witnessed something so extraordinary as a city without sin?
It's an episode of Star Trek.
Nor could I, until I came here. But the reason for this miracle is as simple as it is terrifying. If even one person commits a sin here, every last one of us will die. You see, the builders of this place, whoever they were, left inscriptions warning, "The many shall suffer for the sins of the one." From what we can gather, breaking the law here will anger the gods and provoke a terrible punishment. Like the curses of Medusa and Midas combined, turning us all to gold. We've come to call it the Golden Rule. It's extraordinary that we've survived as long as we have, and each day I grow more and more afraid that our time in the sun is almost up. And now it seems that day is finally here. All that matters is that somebody in this city is about to break the Golden Rule. Why else would Proserpina send you now? Unless you and I can stop them, our doom is assured. I know that's a lot to take in, and you look like you have questions. Please, ask away. An intelligent question. There was a good deal of debate about that in our first weeks here. Does it refer to crimes, or to some other ill-defined wrong? Of course, everyone agrees on the basics. No theft, no assault, and certainly no murder. But beyond that, it was more difficult to reach a consensus. What about lying, insulting someone, blasphemy, trespass, trying to escape, bribery, infidelity, suicide? As magistrate, I had to exercise leadership, and so I made a decision. We must uphold the laws of the Empire to a standard never before seen. And we must honor the peace of the gods, the sacred accord between the gods and the people of Rome. It is only by offering the gods the proper respect that we may prosper, as Rome has for centuries. I'm glad you agree. The key things to remember are that we have laws forbidding treason and blasphemy, murder, assault, and rape, as well as theft and arson, and so on. I have made my pronouncement on the subject. Unfortunately, there are still those here who resist, whispering blasphemous and treasonous lies.
Including those from Violet.
I would be keeping a close eye on them if I were you. You see, in my search for a way to save my people, I learned of an ancient ritual to Proserpina, the goddess of the cycle of life and renewal. It's said to open a doorway in time, so that if the unthinkable happens, one person can pass through it and travel back to the past. And when I saw you arrive in a flash of light from the goddess's shrine, I knew that person was you. You don't belong in our time, do you? Please, tell me, in your time, what did you see? What had become of us, of this city? I have imagined it, our downfall, 1,000 times, but it still breaks my heart to hear the truth of it. All I can tell you is that it's a ritual sacrifice to Proserpina. I stumbled across instructions. I have to recite a prayer, and of course, as with all rituals, some sacrifice is involved. Usually that means wine or food, or in some cases a live animal. In this case, the sacrifice is rather more costly. The life of the person performing the ritual. I don't suppose you saw any sign of me in the future? I assume that was me. If I'm forced to perform the ritual, it's going to cost me everything. You'll try to make sure I don't need to use it, won't you?
I'm just... maybe that's the trigger?
Well, I believe you're in the best position to go around asking people questions. You're new here, and it'll seem perfectly normal. As for me, well, it pains me to say my attempts to impose order have not earned me many friends. I fear I may not even remain magistrate after today's election. The people here would only treat my curiosity with suspicion. You shouldn't have that problem, though, unless, of course, you get off on the wrong foot. Do you ever stare at a problem for so long that you can't see it for what it is anymore? What's needed here is a fresh pair of eyes. The less I prejudice the independence of your investigation, the better. Me? Why would you suspect me? I just told you, I'm about to sacrifice my own life to ensure these people have a second chance.
Well, what if the sacrifices?
What could you possibly have to suspect me, of all people?
Yeah.
I'm glad
just being, independent.
Without trust, without each other, we won't be able to prevent what is about to happen. If I understand Prosepina's ritual correctly, that problem should take care of itself. Let me see if I can explain. If you manage to prevent the sin that breaks the Golden Rule, I won't need to bring you here. I won't create the portal, and you will never have been able to come here. Thus, you'll have created a paradox. If this occurs, you should be flung back to your own time, having changed the past for all of us. Make sense? Good. So, are you with me? Can I count on you to figure out who's about to break the Golden Rule? Wonderful. Now, I need you to investigate the city, talk to everyone, help them if it'll win their trust. I authorize you to enter private homes and inspect possessions and documents, unless, of course, you're asked to leave. Figure out who the culprit is, and as soon as you have a name, come back and tell me immediately. Oh, and one last thing. If I were you, I'd start my investigation by visiting Lucretia at the Shrine of Apollo in the Forum. I heard wailing from there not long ago. Seems like something's not right.
So I want to make some notes. Just made one that apparently I picked the female on the coin. I didn't realize. I mean, legitimate. Yes, I did see that the features were different between them. One looked like burly masculine, and the other, okay, yeah, was more, feminine. But I still didn't see any cues that was in fact female. I mean, the head. It's like, oh, we can just see more the neck. It wasn't just seeing the head ducked down and really taking up all of it, and Laurel. And it's like, I mean, plenty of guys would have also had those. So yeah, I didn't see anything, but whatever, doesn't matter. This second was it 63, 65. Way travel works. Actually, let me quickly check something. Good, I haven't seen them there. The replay buffers is got it. Spelling. Not sure if I spelled the name of the goddess correctly. Magistrate. Centius. perform a ritual, sacrificing his life to do so. Paul help in the future. That being portal you entered. And I'm guessing each time you fail, you are reset back to the present and cross portal again. If you succeed, then you have a paradox as you as you entering portal will not be necessary, so you do not visit the past, but the changes you made and presumably your presence will remain. This is according to Sentius and what he said concerning the yeah. Okay, I'm sorry, I need to tweak this a little bit. Hopefully that's... It is just a little slower. Can I? Huh. I'm curious what that relief is of. Alright, so now let's talk to her. See if she's any nicer.
Oh, look, you're back. How lucky for me. What is it now? You know, some people say it's the creation of an all-seeing God who's watching everything we do. But what kind of an awful, incompetent God would let my sister go missing on his or her watch? Oh, I'd say it to their faces if they had the courage to show themselves. Did you hear that? Curse you, you coward! Where is my sister? What do you have to say for yourself? No response. Nothing. That's what I thought. I'm telling you, this mysterious god of ours has to be asleep on the job. Either that, or, like people are saying, it really is just a children's fable my father is exploiting to frighten us into behaving. I suppose we will. Ugh, what is it with you people? You heard the rumor that my little sister escaped and figure I must know a way out too. Is that it? Well, that's just a stupid rumor. We have no idea what happened to Scintilla. I wish you mouth breathers would just leave me alone. I don't know. Can you? Can you tell me how a person could have disappeared from a city with no exits and no crime? Was she snatched away by the harpies? It was 3 weeks ago. We ate our evening meal together, and I remember she seemed happy. In love. We went into our rooms, I went to sleep, and when I woke up, she was gone. That's it. I think so, yes. But she was very careful about keeping his identity a secret, even from me. Because our father had plans to marry her off, eventually, and even a rumor about her attachment to some mystery man might have ruined those plans. That doesn't surprise me. To him, it was like a prize cow wandering off from its paddock. He's upset, of course, but he says he's too busy with the election to help look for her, so he's letting Horatius do the heavy lifting. Some good that's done.
You can't use Aoki.
But it's been 3 weeks since she disappeared, and he hasn't come forward. That might speak to a guilty conscience. All I know is, whoever he is, he's still here in the city.
Also, just remember. Tinsley Al also got stuck in the loop. Failed. Decided to kill himself rather than continue in it, and was also turned gold as a result. Yeah.
You really aren't from here, are you? All Roman women are named after their fathers. I think it's their way of branding us, like cattle to be sold at market. His family name is Sentius, so I'm Sentia because I'm the eldest, and my little sister is formerly Sentia Minor, but she is affectionately known as Sentilla.
Okay. But yeah, because of how Latin words are constructed, I don't remember this specifically, that the daughters would always be named after their fathers like that. But you do see constructions like that, you know, like her actual name being Sentia Minor. But then it, you know, and then if you had a third daughter, what would it be? Sentia Tertius? The third? Not sure. But yeah, it's naming was interesting that way, and it's also he would have 3 names, which she I don't remember if that went along feminine lines. But no, Roman citizens had 3 names, whereas slaves only had 2 names. But like if a slave were freed, their children would have 3 names because they would be, you know, full free Roman citizens.
I hope you're not insinuating I'm somehow pleased with her disappearance.
Sure, why not?
Oh, you're awful. Get out of my villa and never speak to me again.
Just until, you know, the next one. It's like, as I recall, that is part of the mechanics of this, is if you offend someone, you do get another. It's interesting that it's not centered, but I mean, in a way, that does make the rotation more interesting. No. Oh, okay, I could just look away from it. I don't remember where the kitchen is in a Roman household. That was something that we did look at in Latin class, was also like the actual design. I mean, it's interesting to know various aspects of it, because even though, yes, we're only learning the the language, knowing the culture as a whole, because the language is tied to the culture and the culture to the language. Doesn't mean I remember much of it. It has been over a decade. But, yeah. Wait. I mean, it's been 3 weeks, and I think it's more just she's in control. I'd be more tempted to share with him the note. Okay, you know what? Let me try some. I'm definitely noticing a micro stutter. Want to see if that'll help any. That's the gladiator we
What
ran.
were you two talking about? Don't play dumb. I saw you. Having a shady little chat with old man Sentius up on his balcony. If he's making a last-ditch effort to pick up votes by talking to a woman, he's even more senile than I thought. Everyone knows women can't vote. What else would you be murmuring about on election day? Mark my words, Malleolus is going to be magistrate by the end of the day. And if I tell him you sided with that feeble old has-been, that you've been trying to undermine his hard-won victory, you'll have picked the wrong patron. Got it? Oh, you just made a big mistake. Malleolus is going to hear all about this, and he'll make you suffer the tortures of Tartarus while you're still alive. Stircum Adite.
Nope. I do wish I remembered my Latin better. But yeah, I don't remember.
Hey, you're not thinking about going into the cistern, are you? Contrary little cap at murder, aren't you? Nobody's told you about Hannibal? Ugh, why do I have to do everything round here? So, there was this guy called Hannibal, right? Funny accent. Used to go down into the cisterns looking for junk he could clean up and sell. One day, a few weeks back, he comes out and tells me the cisterns are haunted. Said he could hear spirits wailing. Of course, nobody believed him, because who trusts a Carthaginian, right? Anyway, a few days later, he goes back in. And hours go by, and he hasn't come back out, yeah? So I go down after him, and it's dark. But in the distance, I can just make out his body, sprawled out on the ground. And hunched over him was something that made my blood run cold. No word of a lie. I saw a creature. Like the corpse of a man who'd been flayed. And it was eating Hannibal.
No, because if it was an animal, and it's like, that's not really a sin that would violate that.
What any sane person would have done. I legged it out of there and put a sign at the door to warn the others. Good idea.
I don't feel like antagonizing him on that. think it's just unhappy I'm doing so much exploring.
A new face. Ave, and may Vesta watch over you. I'm Equitia. To what do I owe the pleasure of this visit? Oh my. I take it people are quite direct where you're from. I suppose it's quite charming in its own way. Usually, however, you wouldn't simply march up to a Vestal priestess and without due formality or courtesy ask, "What is your story?" The proper approach would be to arrange an introduction through a mutual acquaintance in high office, by which time you would already know how to address me. And then you would find a way to satisfy your curiosity rather more indirectly. But to be honest, I've often thought what an unnecessarily formal way to communicate that is. So, let's do it your way. You just keep being yourself and ask whatever you like. It'll be a refreshing change. You know, I'm not entirely sure. But what about you? How did you end up here? Karen, you say? And nothing about that name seemed odd to you. Older. I see. I wonder if... No. I apologize. I don't mean to be cryptic. It's just that you've got me thinking. Have you spoken with any of the others about how they arrived here too? I really think you should. Go around and ask them what they remember and see if you notice any patterns. Good. Thank you. But please be careful. I just don't want to see what happened to Livia happen to you too. Up until a few weeks ago, she was a perfectly productive member of our little community, darning clothes and cutting hair. She was always so chatty, always seeking out newcomers and asking them where they were from and how they wound up here. And then, about a month ago, she suddenly changed. She withdrew, stopped working and became despondent, started muttering to herself. Galerius and I visited her to see how we could help, but she just looked at us with this haunted stare, called us bloodless shadows, and told us we were ignorant of some pattern. Look, it could be unrelated. Perhaps she simply fell ill. Or, as Galerius suggested, the weight of the Golden Rule was too much for her. But there is a small chance that she learned something, saw a pattern nobody else saw, and that it broke her. I just don't want to see that happen to you. So be careful, will you? Thank you. Now, go and follow the thread of truth through this labyrinth, and come back to me if you discover any patterns. I don't, I'm afraid. It seems to me we're exiled here until the gods judge us, one way or another. I'm quite sure it's the work of the gods, which is strange because they've never been particularly concerned with our misdeeds, as long as we've kept the peace of the gods. We ask for blessings, for good health, bountiful harvest, military victory, and in return, we offer praise, wine, incense, or animals. But here, it seems they require much more of us. I find myself reminded of an especially pertinent tale from our great poet Ovid in his epic Metamorphoses. Would you like to hear it? It is rather long. Wonderful. It goes like this. Baucis and Philemon were an old married couple living a humble life in a small town. One night, the town gets a visit from a couple of vagrants. They go from door to door, asking for a place to stay the night. Of course, being vagrants, they're turned away sharply from house after house, 1,000 in all, until finally they come to the little cottage where Baucis and Philemon lived. Now, the kind old couple had very little to offer, but nevertheless, they invite these strangers into their house and offer them food, wine, and a place to stay. Immediately, the guests make themselves at home. They begin gulping down the old couple's wine, so much so that Borsis, the old lady, begins to worry they're going to run out. And then she notices something strange. Her wine pitcher keeps refilling itself, as if by magic. Realizing only a select few possess such powers, says to her husband, Philemon, "I think these men are gods in disguise." Immediately, the couple begins apologizing for offering such coarse wine, and the vagrants metamorphosize and reveal themselves to be Jupiter, the king of the gods, and Mercury, the trickster god. They confide they didn't mind the meager offerings. They were just pleased that someone in the town offered them hospitality. Then Jupiter says to them, "You have passed our test, but everyone else in this city failed, so we are going to destroy this place and everyone in it, except you, who we will grant a wish." So old Borsis and Philemon escape up into the mountains safely, and they receive their wish, which is for eternity together. Meanwhile, Jupiter carries through with his threat and wipes that city off the map. Some say the moral of that story is that we must all honor the sacred rituals of guest friendship, the reciprocal obligations owed between hosts and guests. But I like to think it's that we should always show compassion for those less fortunate than ourselves. I'm pleased to hear it. It must be completed by dusk, just the same as any other official business. It'll be between Sentius, the incumbent, and Malleolus, the challenger. Why do you ask? All of the male citizens who are willing and able to attend, unless they're running, of course. That's just the way it's always been, I'm afraid. It never sat right with me, either. There are some women who can vote, Vestal priestesses like myself, but in this case, given my role overseeing the election, I've decided to abstain. I can't allow the perception that I'm being anything but fair and independent, but if it's any consolation, there are other ways to influence the outcome of an election.
Remember, I think widows may have inherited voting from, like, the power to vote. I don't remember, though. I'd have to look that up, but I probably won't, because
By using whatever gifts the gods gave you. Nothing untoward, of course. I'm responsible for announcing it and making sure the procedures are followed. You can, assuming they're eligible and willing to accept the nomination. As I said, I'm planning to hold it before dusk, but I suppose I could hold it sooner, if there's a good reason. As you wish.
I was just asking.
And did you notice anything? Oh, keep asking people how their oblivious fate weighs heavily on my mind, and dictates we should be sure. Yes, you should ask the others first.
It occurs to me she didn't tell me.
Yourself with the rest of our neighbors.
Is the suggestion there is a pattern to how people arrive. And this came after mentioning the name Karen. So perhaps she is that pattern. Maybe a form of the god that created this place and rule. That doesn't seem, unreasonable, does it? Plus, it would be an appropriate cliche. There. No. Oh, and also it would have been Jupiter, not Jupiter, because there's no J sound in Latin. Actually, can I ask him?
What now? Os in Coolio mio.
Okay. He doesn't want to talk. I feel like it's worth asking the question, why are there already golden people here? I'm gonna make a note of that. There are already golden people in the city. But I have not seen this explained yet. Wonder if that means this has been tried. Well, previously. I was tempted to say multiple times, but no. Tried previously and failed, with this being the latest version. Well, latest attempt. Portal venting another attempt, perhaps? I mean, that would seem appropriate. That no, it is done over. This has happened before. That's what these statues are. But because of the portal being created, it another attempt cannot be made.
Ah, a fellow traveler from a faraway land. Greetings, I'm Georgius. It gladdens me to see another foreigner in our midst. We must stick together, you and I. And I must say, my sartorial friend, your clothing is most extraordinary. Leather boots in place of sandals, trousers with precise stitching, and such a curious design. I have traveled distant trade routes from the markets of Damascus to the farms of India, and never have I seen anyone dressed quite like you. Tell me, I must know, from which exotic part of the world do you hail? Then you are an explorer, like me. Wonderful. You must have many stories to share. I cannot wait to hear them. We will have much time here to get to know one another. But for now, do you require assistance? I know you do not require clothing, so information perhaps? My story? How kind of you to ask. I am a tailor and I run the humble shop in the forum. You mean to say, with all the turmoil and terror of the Golden Rule and so few customers, why bother setting shop at all?
Kinda.
I'll tell you, it is precisely because of the Golden Rule that I wish to remind my friends of the importance of looking one's best. I say, the more of our customs we preserve down here, the more we can preserve a semblance of normality, the better our chances of keeping our heads. Don't you agree?
Yeah.
Oh,
that makes sense.
And there is another reason too. If we all end up as golden statues for future generations to marvel at, I don't know about you, but I would like to look my best. A good question. A very good question indeed. And I would be happy to tell you if only I could remember it clearly myself. I remember I had just been to Rome to sell an extraordinary selection of wares, and drawing in coin, I decided to celebrate my success. I rented a prestigious villa by the Tiber, invited over a few select friends, and we began making our way through some of the most exquisite wine money could buy. Quite a lot of it, in fact. Now, I have had visions and awoken in strange places before. I have even found myself naked in the desert sands more than once, but none of that compares to this. This time, I remember people screaming, then falling into a void as empty as time before creation, gasping for air, and then nothing. When I regained my faculties, I was lying naked by the banks of the Tiber, gods know how many miles from my villa. Indeed, I'm lucky I was carrying a little extra weight. I believe it kept me afloat. In any case, it seems I'd been rescued and resuscitated by a benevolent stranger. I went to find firewood for his campfire, stumbled across a cave, and discovered that trapdoor temple. And here I am. Anything you... Shh! Not so loud! What are you playing at? Have you not been told about the last attempt? Oh, then I suppose this duty falls to me. Ah, it is a long story. Of course, the first question any of us asks when we first arrive is, how do I escape? It is only natural after all. And scaling the chasm wall is out of the question, for it is simply too steep and too far. But as they say, if the wind fails, use the oars. And here the second option is to leave the way we came in, through the shaft above the bathhouse. See, the shaft is quite high, but if one gathered up enough wood, one could make a series of ladders and climb one's way out. They have. I am getting to that. There was an attempt made by resourceful fellows who lived here some years ago. They even decided to keep records of their escape attempt for posterity. Unfortunately, as soon as they began to carry the first ladder down the hallway, they heard a godlike voice shake the entire city, and that, tragically, is where their tale ends. So it seems that to merely attempt escape is to invite the wrath of whichever god oversees this place, and so I say it is best to not even discuss it aloud. Ah, yes. The many shall suffer for the sins of the one. As a Greek, this is nothing new to me. It is how our gods operate. Have you not heard the tale of the god Hades? He was the first to learn this dreadful lesson when he abducted Persephone and imprisoned her in the underworld. When Demeter, the mother of Persephone, learned of this, she did not punish Hades, the guilty one. Instead, she changed the climate of Earth so that it became hot and dry. Nothing grew. The grain turned to empty husks and the rivers dried up. Innocent people died by the tens of thousands until at last the other gods were forced to act lest they have no worshippers left. So yes, we know this rule. This has always been the case. The Golden Rule has merely brought it into focus. If we are to survive, I say we must each heed the simple wisdom of Thales of Miletus, first of the 7 sages of Greece, who said, "Avoid doing what you would blame others for doing." It does, doesn't it? But it is not enough for us to do this alone. For even if 99% of us adopt this principle, that will never be enough. Sadly, no matter how well we protect ourselves, the life's work of many good people can be undone in the blink of an eye by a single selfish act. Ah, the voice of experience. I am sorry for your loss, my friend. But on a lighter note, I will say one thing for the Golden Rule. For all their grim and haunting poses, these golden statues do make magnificent models for my clothing, do they not? That, my friend, is quite the dilemma. But after some reflection, I'm leaning toward voting for Malleolus. I do not enjoy the thought of another visit from Domitius if I voted the wrong way. Nothing comes to my mind, my friend. I hope that our paths cross again soon, my friend.
There is a story about a prior to this one, years ago, well, this current settlement is only 7 months old. Tried to escape. That broke the rule, producing, well, at least some of the statute currently present. Oh, I'm so happy. Look at that. Time played. Yeah. And now you also know what the date is for me. I don't remember when the... Apparently it is statues that whisper to you. One of them commented about not being able to move. Okay. Yeah, I don't remember exactly when this releases, but that's okay. But yeah, so you do see, I am playing prior to release, so if there are any issues, I haven't really noticed any that are serious, so I'm not worried about that. But, yeah.
Give me a moment. Sorry I'm such a mess. I just lost a patient and a dear friend. Yulia. She was a good woman. No, now's fine. I can't afford to wallow here. And I need the distraction. What's on your mind? She was poisoned. She came in here frothing at the mouth. Normally I'd treat her with resin of silphium, a rare plant which is perfect for this sort of thing. And I knew Decius had some at his market stall, right around the corner. So I ran over there, but he just looks at me with this evil smile and says, "That'll be 1,000 denarii." There was no way I could afford that, and he knew it. Then that toad shrugs and says, "Supply and demand. I guess you don't value your friend's life that highly." Anywhere else, I'd just pay a thug to steal it from his stall, but there's no way I can do that down here with the golden rule. So all I could do is come back here and just watch her die. I kept on apologizing. And now I'll never know who poisoned her, or how they managed to do it without breaking the golden rule, or why she cursed that snake's cruel black eyes with her dying breath. Well, unless you have the power to bring someone back from the dead, there's really just one thing you can do. Get me that silphium resin. I'm going to have another patient in here soon. Could be in the next day or in the next hour. And I will not allow this to happen again. I don't care how you get it, but you have to make it happen. Because if I lose another patient this way, I swear to the gods below, not even the golden rule will stop me from marching up to that genetricum fututo and scratching his eyes out. Well, come back if you get sick or injured. Day or night, I'll do what I can.
Wait, there's more I want to talk to her about.
Feeling all right? I'm Lucretia, and I'm going to be straight with you. I'm not a physician. This is Nevia's clinic. I've just been filling in ever since she disappeared. I'm tired and out of my depth and miserable all the time. But I'd rather take this on myself than let one of you lot mess it up.
Yeah, fair enough.
My husband and I moved to Rome from Caesarea. He embraced the Roman way more than I would have liked and turned into an awful philanderer. I would have divorced him and demanded the return of my dowry, but I knew he would sooner have me killed than give me my right. So I waited for the right time to take what was mine and disappear. And then the fires came. As he prepared to evacuate our villa, I gathered our most precious belongings, coins and gemstones, and the moment his back was turned, I ran. I could barely see for the smoke, and the streets were full of people trampling each other. I ran for the river, like everyone else, and leapt in. The next thing I remember, I was waking up on a riverbank, not far from here. It's all right. Say what you will about this place. At least my fornicating husband will never find me. And while there's no shortage of snakes here, at least with the golden rule, they have to try to be discreet about it.
I'm just... Georgius had, the drunken night. She well, I don't know if you really want to say that she was stealing. I'm just wondering if part of the pattern might be the whole, like committing some sin before coming here. But it's like, I'm not it's not exactly that simple.
Oh, this shrine was in use as a clinic long before any of us arrived here. Kind of strange to set up a clinic in the temple of the god of disease. But the god who inflicts a curse is also the only god who can undo it. So I suppose praying to Apollo for healing kind of makes sense. Well, she used to run the clinic. She was a midwife, not a physician, but she was the closest thing we had down here. And she was good too. Until she suddenly lost all interest in us. One day she told me she'd made some profound discovery about the golden statues. This
like they're talking?
changes everything, she kept saying. But I had no idea what she was talking about. The last time I saw her, the last time any of us saw her, she was muttering to the statues, like she could talk to them. And then she shut herself in the palace, barred the door from the inside, and nobody's seen her since. She's been gone so long now, we figure she's either dead or up to something so strange that she doesn't want anyone else to know about it. But I really wish I could reach her, because that's the only hope I have of solving a troubling problem, a real thorn in the paw situation. One of my patients is suffering from terrible rheumatism. His joints are inflamed and he's in constant pain. I really shouldn't say. He wouldn't like it. And he's a little bit scary. He's become so irritable that the smallest things set him off. And I worry he'll end up losing his temper and lashing out. And you know what that means. I just know Nevia would know how to treat him, assuming she's still alive. But nobody seems to know how to get into the palace. Thanks, I suppose. I wish. Some people here need proper medical care, not the half-baked, hanging by a thread excuse for treatment I'm giving them. Just don't get sick or injured here. I'll do my best to treat you, but I'm out of my depth and dangerously short on everything you can imagine. A city without sin might sound good on paper, but whoever dreamt it up didn't think it through. Maybe it was an attempt to create some kind of utopia. But snakes like Decius will always find loopholes to exploit. And what can we do about it? Absolutely nothing. In some ways, we are worse off because we can't take the law into our own hands.
I feel like pointing out utopia? Yeah, that is a Greek word, but it was not used with that meaning for centuries, many centuries after this. I mean, crap, when is that story from? That might be a Renaissance era story, I don't...
Oh no. Sorry, I don't mean to worry you, but no, that is definitely not normal. There was one other person who claimed she could hear the statues talking to her. But that was Nevia, and she went a little mad. Well, she used to run the clinic until she suddenly lost all interest in us. One day this changed.
Okay, so this is what I already got.
But one of my patients, he's become so irritable that the smallest, I just know Navia would.
Okay.
Thanks. Sure. What do you really want to know? I mean, if somebody poisoned her, then surely they would have broken the golden rule, and so maybe it's best we don't discuss it. Hemlock, I believe. I haven't seen her in months. She's not allowed to leave Malleolas's villa, and they are quite secretive. Gladly. Well, come.
Anything? Yes, he was.
May Apollo keep you safe.
I was just trying to remember. Wait, is that right? That Apollo would have the lions? Like, yes, it was made by Hermes, by Mercury, but he did give it to Apollo to try to make up for the whole stealing his cattle. Sure. I'm just... Yeah. Trying to remember something I laughed and it's like, that looks correct. Whoops.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Sorry. I meant to like get out of that, and it's the thing is left click. My bad. I'm very sorry. And back to Atlantis. Okay, so that was just now. Okay, it's not like I could undo that. Achievement unlocked. Looper. You can say. Oh wait. Yeah.
Salve, friend. I'm Galerius. I don't think so. I've never seen you before in my life. Oh, I guess how much did I drink last night? Sorry to have bothered you. Oh, and since you seem to be in a hurry, you should try out this device I made. Worked real hard on it.
Cool.
Just attach the pulley to the rope over the lake and hang on to the handles. If it works, it'll be faster than walking. And if it doesn't work, worst thing that can happen is you'll take a swim in the lake. I haven't quite summoned the courage to test it myself. But don't worry, it's completely safe. Probably. All right, see you around.
I mean, since moving, why not do a little exploring? It didn't say that was theft, so... I don't want to explore too much. And what's drawing the funnel? Sorry, what of these? Thank you. So, I'm guessing at some point you do gain a way of having those support your weight. I just want to get up there. But it does seem like somehow I'm able to like grab onto. Well, that's not good. Good thing I'd save. Yeah. Wow, things are really falling apart in these past few minutes. What? What?
I don't? Oh. Oh. Just...
Okay. Oh, wait, yeah. Head back down to get those the other coin. You know, it just occurred to me, maybe that whole, this one appearing, maybe that's that bug. That's the known bug, so it will be fixed. Could be. Hello.
Salve, friend. I'm Octavia. Welcome to life under the Golden Rule. It's a ghastly thing, is it not? How are you faring so far? Ah, another stoic, perhaps. We all need something to help us through times like these. We've all been where you are now. I remember when I first arrived, I used to lay awake at night contemplating the big questions. Why am I here? Is there a way out? What is the Golden Rule, and who or what is responsible for it? I still don't have any of the answers, I'm afraid. I don't think anybody does. But I'm happy to share with you what I've learned. Here, in this place, the magistrate has me earning my keep by cleaning and pruning the gardens. It's not quite how I expected my life to go. I used to live in a lovely villa on the banks of the Tiber. I was even betrothed to a handsome young man from a prominent family. But long hours of menial labour for the good of the community has its own charms too, I suppose. Oh, much the same way as many of the others. When the fires came to Rome 7 months ago, my family and I fled for the Tiber, hoping to escape on a barge. We were among the fortunate ones with enough coins for passage, but unfortunately, there were a lot of desperate people, and they boarded before we could depart. A scuffle broke out, and I was pushed overboard. The last thing I remember was the water, rising up to hit my cheekbone. I woke up by the river, near that shrine, and stumbled across this place. Oh, that's all right. I'm sure it's all part of God's plan for me. Oh yes, of course. A slip of the tongue.
I did notice that, so it's like, wait, there's an option there? Huh.
If you like. I'm afraid not. Although, I did once hear someone gossiping down at Aurelia's tavern about a possible way out. I don't put a lot of stock in such rumours, but if you're desperate and wealthy, you could look into it, I suppose. If that doesn't work, then I suppose we're all stuck here until the gods decide our fate. I hope it works out. The many shall suffer for the sins of the one. I think about those words a lot. I'd like to think that if we all love our neighbours as ourselves and do to them as we'd have them do to us, then we'll all be fine. But on the other hand, I was always taught the intent of man's heart is evil from his youth, and that all of us are born with a tendency towards sin. And that's where I get stuck. Is it true? Are we born with a tendency towards sin? You don't think that's a little naive? I suppose you've never seen what I've seen. Innocent men and women, torn apart in arenas while thousands of Romans look on and cheer.
Yeah, I'll still do it.
I wish I shared your faith. Please keep that to yourself. I know you're not from around here, but things are very difficult for us right now. There was a terrible fire in Rome last year, and our emperor decided to make us his scapegoats. There were executions. It was horrible. Oh, thank you. You have no idea how much I appreciate that. All right.
And that is what Neo did.
It's lovely to meet you. I look forward to getting to know you better over the coming months. And if you ever...
I can't believe this is how it ends.
Oh no. 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 Ulpius, what are you doing? Get back from there. If you lose your balance, you'll fall.
That's the idea.
What? Why? Why would you want that?
Why do you think I'm stuck for the rest of my life working for a man who treats me like an animal?
I know things are hard for you right now. They're hard for all of us. We're all in this together, Ulpius. Please just think this through. If you do this, it could be the sin that seals all of our fates. Is that what you want?
I'm sorry, but I just don't care anymore.
Please, Ulpius. Help him. If he goes through with it, it could be the end for us all. I don't know what to do. I've never had to deal with this sort of thing. Please, you need to talk to him. Thank you. And please, choose your words carefully.
Let me guess. You're going to lecture me on how suicide is a crime against the Empire. I screwed up my life. That's what's wrong. I borrowed money, and when I couldn't pay it back, I wound up in debt bondage. I'll be stuck slaving away for that Culus Cumulatis Malleolus for the rest of my life. I am out. Wherever you are, Scintilla, my love, I'm sorry.
Ulpius, no! I can't believe he went through with it. Oh Lord, that poor lamb. That was not your fault. There's no way you could have given him what he wanted, moments after you arrived. Well, I suppose it means suicide isn't a sin under the Golden Rule. So I guess that means whichever god is responsible for it, it isn't mine. I'll have to let everyone know what happened. And I guess Malleolus will have to clean up the mess in his villa. It's of his own making, after all. And I'd best pray for poor Ulpius.
Seriously? I don't think I'm gonna do that. At least not at the moment. Alright, you know what?
Thank you. Thank you. I am delighted and deeply honored to have been elected your magistrate. Magistrate, yes. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Delighted and deeply honored to elect your magistrate. And now... and now...
But yeah, the whole Nero did blame the Christians after the fire. And by the way, the whole Nero fiddled while the fire burned thing, while Rome burned, is not true. That came about... I'm trying to remember. It was long after. But there actually are some records from shortly after the fire that did record, and it was more than one record, as I recall, did record that he actually did help fight the fire. But it is true, he did blame the Christians, even though there's no reason to have done so. And he did take advantage of it for his, Domus Aurea, his golden palace. Sections of Rome that were destroyed, he rebuilt his palace on. And to give you an idea of how large this palace was, one of the pools in it is where the Colosseum is now. Okay? Like, the Colosseum, that huge structure, is built on top of what was a pool. And it actually explains certain things, because there are some records, and some people didn't believe them for a while until they did some excavation underneath, that they actually did naval battles in it, in the Colosseum, that they flooded it and would hold naval battles in there, or rather, recreations. But when they excavated and they realized that, wait, this was built on top of the pool, a lot of the waterworks was still there, so it actually is very possible that they did have the capacity to flood it and do such things. But yeah, and that was like, one pool that was there, and it was far larger than that, and they've actually done some excavations in other places, as I recall, and not just for the Domus Aurea, but it would have been other places as well, where you just, you start excavating, then suddenly, wait, we're in a completely separate building that just got filled in with dirt and debris, and then new buildings built on top.
I make this solemn promise to you, good citizens. Did you just leap into my villa from the balcony 100 feet above? That was either extremely reckless or impressively clever. Well, why have you risked life and limb to see me? I'm Malleolus, and if it wasn't for this interruption, I'd be practicing my victory speech for the election later today. I'm glad you asked. I'll finally restore freedom to this city, just as I've been promising. These good people have suffered long enough under Sentius's tyranny.
By declaring there's no such thing as the Golden Rule. It's a children's fable exploited by Sentius to frighten us into submission. Wait, don't tell me you've fallen victim to that monstrous lie? The person making a claim bears the onus of proving that claim. Can you do that? Can you prove the Golden Rule is real? Nonsense! There's no way you can prove that. If it was real and you'd seen someone break it, then you'd be dead already. Surely, you're not one of those people who believes everything you read, as if a lie could be transformed into the truth by the simple act of writing it down. I disagree. I'll be guided by what is best for the city's people, and that means giving them the freedom to do as they wish. True, but that is simply because you are mistaken. I'm afraid not. We're stuck down here together, for better or worse. We're all going to have to make the best of it. You mean the children's fable exploited by Sentius to scare us all into doing what he wants? I trust you can see yourself out. Through the door this time. There's a key just beside it.
Ooh, goody. I'll be able to keep the key. At least I'm assuming it. I don't see
Still here?
There. Sorry, I'm just, looking around. Huh. It's not quite right. That's actually kind of a neat fact. Should make a note. Okay. So Alpius is also Christian. There are some secret Christians in the city. Suicide does not break rule. Oh yeah, and if you steal something, that does break the rule. So be careful, as that is done by a single 1B clip. It's like, that legitimately was an accident. Alright, I just think that's interesting, so I wanted a screenshot of it. I do, crap, there was a thought that crossed my mind and now it's gone. Hated when that happened. Where are, oh yeah, that's right, though. Although, I was told to take it. No, they are. Okay, I already did that downstairs.
You're not supposed to be in here.
I know, where do you keep your valuables?
Talk. What business could you possibly have with me? My marital affairs are no concern of yours. Thank you very much. I think a better question is, why am I being interrogated by a stranger who just barged into my villa? I have quite enough marriage trouble already, without having to explain to my husband why I'm receiving strange women in private. I think it's about to be broken if you don't hurry up and leave.
Oh, I like that.
Finally.
I like that screenshot. Just be certain. Yeah. Okay, so this is where And hey, I can try talking to him.
What now? The name's Domitius. You want to get to Malleolus? You go through me. Why? Because I am a gladiator. That's why.
Fair.
You want to see me fight? Keep running your mouth, fatuous cunners.
Why would I even bother asking?
When Malleolus wins the election, yeah? This place will change. You won't even want to leave. You'll see. I think it's gone on long enough, and Malleolus is going to put an end to it once he's elected. He's going to announce it in his victory speech. Just you wait and see. 'Cause if I tell you, and it gets out, it'll give old man Sentius a chance to interfere in our plans. And we can't have that. We've already lined up the votes he needs to win. Just stay out of our way, and we won't have a problem. Whatever.
Technically, I should go and talk to Sentius. Huh. Where is she? Maybe she's not down there because I haven't spoken to Cynthia. Yeah, I have been up here. Okay. Let's actually avoid Cynthia now. Oh, she's up here.
Isn't the great temple majestic? A new face. Ave, and may Vesta watch over you. I'm Equitia. To what do I owe the pleasure of this visit? Interesting. I'm not sure why you're telling me, but you've come to the right person. Did you find a pattern then? What have you noticed? Yes, I understand many of our friends were carried here by a river current. What else? There are definitely some common threads there. but I think we'll need at least a few to ensure we're not just seeing coincidences. Keep asking people how they wound up here. I don't want us to rush to any conclusions yet. Livia's fate weighs heavily on my mind and dictates we should be sure. Yes, you should ask the others first. See you again soon.
Just... I do actually still have it. Oh. You do keep things you have stolen.
Name's Rufius. Better watch your step. Can't talk long, got to stay sharp, but family's from Seleucia on Tigris, Babylon province. But I've been roaming a long time now. Even joined the legions, the 6th, the one they call Ironclads. Same way as everyone else. Because we're all in grave danger. Is it not obvious? Magistrate made me toss it in the chasm. Stupid. Going to have to improvise now. If you were dealing with what I am, you wouldn't be either.
He's the one with the rheumatism.
Nobody is supposed to know about that. Did Lucretia tell you? Gah. Look, I haven't been at my best lately. All my joints ache constantly, and the pain. It has a way of messing with your head. I get stirred up by things that shouldn't bother me, and then there's the statues, and my doubts about my faith. And I just want to scream. You want to help me? Do what Lucretia hasn't been able to do. And find me something to make the pain go away. Until then, get out of my face.
Okay. I'm okay with this.
What are you doing in here? Can't you see this woman is dying? She's been poisoned. She needs the resin of a plant called Silphium, but that Culus cubulatus decius won't give it to me. What? Quick, give it here. Yulia, you need to swallow this. Here, let me help you.
So, what has Mally's been doing?
She should be able to breathe normally. That was extraordinary. How did you know she needed this exact thing? And at this exact moment? Are you some kind of oracle?
Yeah, actually.
How could you know she needed this exact medicine? And how did you even get it? I guess it doesn't matter. You just saved a person's life, and you should be proud of yourself. She might even be able to thank you herself in a few moments. And maybe she can tell us who poisoned her, and who she meant when she was muttering about that snake's cruel black eyes. In the meantime, I'm happy to help you with whatever it is you need. That's a shame. Thanks again.
I just want to check. Okay, I do still have it. Good. Actually, hang on. One thing. No, don't see them. So, if you look at a quarter or a dime, you know how the outer edge, it's not smooth? It has a pattern to it? That's actually something that you would also see on Roman coins. It'd be dots, bumps all around. And the idea was because this would have been made out of actual silver. well, people would just shave off the edge because the silver had a value to it. Oh yeah, and it does coin made of silver. Those bumps then were basically, if you shaved off inside of that, it made the coin no longer valuable. I mean, yes, it would still be the silver, but it's, if you had like a 1 ounce and a 2 ounce denarii, it's still worth 1 denarii. But if you can shave off that extra ounce, so it's now 1 ounce denarii, and you have 1 ounce of silver, it's like that's what people were doing. So they needed those bumps there to protect the validity of the coin itself. Okay, I guess I need to come back later.
Hey, Virgil, how much would you want to make me a bow?
For the last time, Dacius, I'm not making you a bow.
But why?
You know why.
But how am I going to defend myself against someone else with a weapon?
There are no other weapons in the city. We all went along with the magistrate's weapons ban, so it wouldn't be an issue.
That's why I've got to get in first before someone else beats me to it. Salve, stranger, and welcome to our idyllic little slice of the Empire. I'm Dacius. You mean, how did I end up here? That is a lengthy tale. All right. Well, you see, I'm in the business of procuring rare and precious objects liberated from the enemies of Rome. Mostly sculptures, vases, the occasional slave, fetch a magnificent price in Roman high society. Had myself a nice little shop in Rome just off the Forum. Lots of foot traffic and close to the docks. Good place to be when the fires broke out. See, about 7 months ago, half of Rome caught on fire. Everyone who couldn't get to an outer gate was running for the river, hoping to escape by barge. So I gathered my coins and some priceless vases into a cart and had my most loyal slave girl, pretty young thing named Acantha, push it for me. All the way down to the river, I'm elbowing through a stampede of people, turning back now and then to make sure she hasn't legged it with my valuables. But, to my surprise, we make it, and I see this barge loading up, and it's so full it's almost sinking. But the captain's happy to take my coin, so I start boarding, and then he puts his hand on my chest and he says, "No, too heavy. The cart or the girl." So I did what anyone would have done.
Yeah, I'm guessing he did.
Of course I chose the cart. I mean, I can always buy a new slave girl if I still have my money.
Yeah.
So I put my hand on the cart, and I guess she realised what was happening because those pretty black eyes of hers go all wide. And in one swift motion, she topples the whole bloody thing into the Tiber. Naturally, I dived in after it, hoping to salvage my fortune. Only, I guess I must have hit my head or something, because everything went black. When I came to, I'd washed up on the riverbank not far from here, with nothing in the world but a single silver coin. I couldn't agree more. I mean, sure, I'd lost a few thousand denarii, but I've already made it back, and this place is a veritable treasure trove. Look around you, there must be more gold in here than in the treasury of Rome. If I can just figure out how to get it out of here. Malleolus. I mean, Sentius couldn't even keep his daughter safe. What hope does he have of protecting us? Not going to happen. It's terrible for inflation is what it is. There's so much gold just lying around, it's practically worthless. At least down here. Of course, I have an idea for generating real wealth, but what I need is a bow. Just a simple composite bow. I've scoured this city from top to bottom with no luck. But if you happen to find one, bring it to me and we'll talk. Thank you, friend. I'm afraid not. If you're desperate, I did hear that Aurelia down at the tavern claims to know of a way out, but I'm not sure I trust her. Some people here are a little shady for my liking. Very well, another time.
I do want to be stopping, but I'll talk to at least some more people.
Ah, a new face. Salve, and welcome to a little community. My name's impossible to pronounce for most people, so you can just call me Virgil. I hear we have you to thank for saving Julia's life. I'm glad you arrived when you did. Well, I'm an architect. Or at least I was back in Rome. That's probably too grandiose a term to describe what I do here. Help out with repairs and try to stop old buildings from collapsing on people. That kind of thing. But you probably don't want to hear about the ingenious architecture or mysterious history of this place. Oh, I'm glad you asked. Some of these shrines were constructed hundreds of years ago, which means Romans have been arriving here for at least that long. But there's one thing that puzzles me. The oldest shrine in this avenue isn't Roman at all. It's Greek. Well, yes, that could be the reason. Or it could mean that there were Greeks living and worshipping here before the Romans arrived. Which begs the interesting question, who really built this place? And could it be far older than any of us imagine? If only there was a way we could talk to the people who came here before us. The stories they could tell. Gladly. Personally, my favorite thing about this place is the aqueducts. Those series of adjoining arches. They're an ingenious feat of Roman engineering with a very practical purpose. They take fresh water coming from outside the city and distribute it all across the chasm. It's funneled below the palace and into a cistern beneath the great temple. Some of it flows down into another cistern beneath the villas, and the rest is funneled to the shrine of Proserpina, where it fills the lake and allows us to fish and farm. Hey, not so loud. Just talking about that could anger the gods for all we know. I'm not saying it's impossible, but you'd have to find a way inside somehow. Just, please, try to be a bit more discreet about it. You mean the Great Temple? This one's a bit of a mystery. Given the way it's positioned so prominently, looking down on us, it's clear that whoever built it felt it was the most important temple in the city. Unfortunately, someone else went out of their way to keep its purpose a mystery. You see, usually a temple is dedicated to a particular god, like Proserpina or Diana or Apollo. Usually, that god is obvious. But in this case, it's unknown. There's an obelisk out the front, which probably used to bear the name of this unknown god. But it appears some barbarian defaced it. And of course we can't get inside because it's locked up tighter than the Temple of Saturn in Rome. And that contains the treasury. So we're all left wondering, which god is that temple dedicated to? And could it be the one responsible for the Golden Rule? Unless somebody figures out a way inside, I suppose we'll never know. Of course. Look, I haven't done anything wrong, if that's what you're thinking. Somebody just has a problem with my preference for male company. Hey, nothing gets by you, huh? Sorry, that was mean. Yes, I like men. And when you grow up in the north, as I did, in the city of Noviomagus, you expect a bit of hostility. The Batavi are not known for their tolerance. I saw enough friends killed or driven away to know the cost of not keeping your personal affairs to yourself. So I hid who I was for, what was it, nearly 10 years? Watching what I said and where I looked. But that kind of fear eats away at you slowly, until living isn't any better than the thing you were afraid of. Needless to say, since I'm now living underground, halfway across the known world, with an assumed name, my openness didn't go down well among the enlightened folk of the Batavi. Nice of you to say, but not necessary. In any case, the Romans are far more accepting, and among them, I get to be who I am. Or at least, I thought that was the case. It seems I was wrong. It's not just graffiti. I have quite a collection of handwritten notes too. The strange thing is, I keep my personal affairs to myself. I've never really been interested in any of the men here. Not my type. So I'm not sure what I could have done to upset this person. If I had to guess, I'd say it's probably one of those cultists. Strange bunch. They insist there's only one God, and that he considers my nature a sin. Can you believe that? If there are any of them here, they won't admit it. Not since they supposedly burnt down half of Rome last year and went into hiding. All I know is, if these threats keep escalating, eventually my secret admirer is going to cross a line and break the golden rule. What? Really? I didn't expect that. But thanks. It's always a pleasure to meet someone so selfless. I'm glad you arrived when you did. I'd start by figuring out who the cultists are. Or maybe ask around among the merchants here. Someone who lives or works in the forum must have seen something. But if you find them, please don't hurt or humiliate them. I suspect they're just confused. Some people say it's divine, the work of a god. But I'm not so sure. It just seems so flawed to me. Like it's distinctly human. I mean, once you've been here long enough, you'll notice people doing things that just seem so wrong to you. But this so-called God doesn't seem to care. Which means one of two things. Either you don't know the difference between right and wrong, or this unknown God doesn't. And I'm pretty sure I know the difference. Do you? Fair enough. You wouldn't believe how often the new ones ask that question. But I'd tell you the same thing I tell everyone else. There are much worse places to live out your days. You might have a few sleepless nights thinking about the golden rule. But once you get used to the fear, knowing that a single slip-up could cost you everything, it's not too bad. Nothing new to me, anyway. Oh, I just mean I grew up in the Batavi tribe, far to the north in Novio Magus, and learned to expect a bit of hostility. They weren't nearly as tolerant as the Romans. Well, Malleolus is talking about loosening some of the restrictions in this place. And while it's all a bit vague, at least he has a vision. My vote isn't for sale, if that's what you're asking. Nice to talk to you.
Ah. Doubt I'm gonna get it.
How'd you do? Ah, I heard what you did for our Yulia. Very impressive. Even if the source of your medicine was a little shady. I don't, I'm afraid. But I did overhear Fabia telling Georgius she saw something. She was headed to the baths not long ago. Very well.
Ah, a fellow traveler from a far... Greetings, I'm Georgius. It gladdens me to see another foreigner in our midst. We must stick together, you and I. My friend, your words intrigue me more and more. But yes, very well. Ask me what you will. This is troubling, is it not? I am afraid I have no idea. It is ridiculous, though. Virgil is a fine man. But my young friend Fabia confided in me that she saw someone leaving graffiti on his shop front last night. Perhaps you should ask her about it. I hope that our paths cross again soon.
Oh. Okay. Hey, she's up.
Oh, it's you. Sorry, I'm still a bit out of it. But
Thanks for trying to help me, I suppose. Was there something you wanted? Lucretia says I'm supposed to rest. As much as I'm grateful that you tried to help me, it's just not safe for me to talk about it. Please, no more questions. The Golden Rule. That's the least of my worries. The gods may be cruel, but Malleolus and Claudia are far crueler. Please, just leave me
May I saw them know?
I don't want to talk about it. Persistent as Nemesis, aren't you? I can tell you, but it's a long saga. All right. I'd been here about a week when it dawned on me I'd be trapped here for the rest of my life. I could hardly breathe, and I knew I had to get out somehow. So when my new friend Aurelia offered me a secret way out, I would have done anything. And then I learned her asking price. 1,000 denarii. She was supposed to be my friend. I told her it would take me years to save up that much. So she suggested I take out a loan from Malleolus. And I did. I had to sign an agreement saying I'd work off the debt over 30 years. But I figured I'd be out of here so soon it wouldn't matter. I paid Aurelia, and she gave me her so-called way out. Do you want to know what it was? Hemlock. Drink this, she said, and you'll be out of here in no time. Of course, I demanded my money back, but she refused. She pointed to a sign on her tavern saying, "Let the buyer beware." Then she just looked at me with those cruel black eyes and she laughed. She immediately told Malleolus I'd tried to escape without paying him back. Only he didn't seem upset or surprised at all. In fact, he just thanked her. And that's when I realized the two of them had planned the whole thing from the beginning. That's what I said to the magistrate. I went to Sentius and begged for help, but he said the law was clear. I'd signed over my labor for 30 years and there was nothing he could do. I thought about resisting too. But Malleolus said if I didn't submit, I'd break the Golden Rule. And I couldn't be responsible for all those deaths, so he locked me in his villa. Confiscated everything I owned as collateral. His wife thought it was just as bad. She sent me to work on an endless stream of futile, demeaning tasks. I'd be on my hands and knees, scrubbing the floor clean for hours, only for her to pour slop on it and hiss, "You missed a spot." Those two took everything from me. But they forgot to confiscate one thing. My hemlock. I just wanted it to be over. But it seems I messed that up too. Should have drunk all of it. I brought it on myself. I trusted one of the most callous human beings I've ever met, and tried to swindle the other. I don't know how I could have been so stupid. When I've recovered, I expect their thug Domitius will come for me. He'll escort me back to their villa, and I'll be right back where I started. Only this time, I won't be able to lull myself to sleep at night with the thought of a permanent solution. Honestly, It would have been better if the poison had been allowed to run its course. I doubt it. It seems this is the fate the gods have chosen for me, for trying to escape. At least until someone breaks the golden rule. Huh. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad. A lot. But it doesn't matter. I made a suicide pact with Ulpius last night. He's in exactly the same position as I am. Malleolus and Aurelius set the same trap for him a month after they did it to me. He and I are in this together. He's probably already thrown himself from the bluff into Malleolus's villa by now. If so, I'd never be able to live with myself, knowing I broke my promise to him. I doubt you could make it up to the bluff in time. I don't know who you are, or why you seem so determined to help me, but thank you. All right, but please don't take too long.
I mean, yeah, he's already dead, but, next go around, and I should be able to, seeing as how he was the secret lover of, Scintilla. That information might be what I need.
You mean my life story? Oh, well, I grew up as part of a big family in Rome. Me and 3 older sisters. Our father found good husbands for my sisters, but I wasn't, cut out for that kind of life. So he found me a job as a scribe for a prominent merchant. It was a good life for a while, until 7 months ago when the fires came. My colleagues and I worked desperately to try to protect our warehouse. We must have had 100 workers passing buckets of water, chanting prayers to Vulcan.
God of fire.
They fell on deaf ears. The fire was relentless, and it claimed everything and everyone. Well, almost everyone. My employer told me to grab what valuables I could and flee for the Tiber with the crowds. I remember diving into the river, and then the next thing I knew, I was waking up on the riverbank not far from here. Thank you, but to be honest, sometimes I think dying in that fire might have been a blessing, given what's happened since. If that's your idea of a joke, it's not funny.
Oh,
Go
yeah, sorry,
away.
I forgot. Want to figure out a way. It's gonna wait. No, because I should be stopping so I can, get lunch. But I am curious. Is she in here? Yep, I can mention the thing.
Ave again. Did you find what you need? Interesting. I'm not sure why you're telling me, but you've come to the right person. Did you find a pattern then? What have you noticed? Yes, I suppose that could be something. But then most of us do tend to carry coins on our person, don't we? What else? That's true. I know I wasn't entirely sure how I wound up here. It's as I feared. I think I understand what poor Livia has been going through. Let me ask you this. Did you happen to encounter a stranger in the forest before you arrived here? And did you happen to catch her name? I see. And was this Karen,
Yes, believe she was.
any chance wearing a hood? Because I've seen her before. There's something I think you should see. I think you'd better follow me to the baths. But don't follow too closely. We can't have people thinking we're bathing together.
I just hit E and I'm using the mouse to turn the camera. So that's also neat. It is actually giving a proper distance.
You have to do something. A man arrived in the baths. Real nasty sort, with his face all covered up. And he's got a weapon.
Please, go and stop him, and come back to me once we're no longer in danger.
Will you?
Help! You have to do something. A man arrived in the baths. A real nasty sort, with his face all covered up. And he's got a weapon. You have to do something, or he's going to break the golden rule. Thank you. He's still in there, somewhere. I have to hide. Find me in this empty shrine when it's over.
What?
What? We don't have time for this. I have to go. Ugh. The shrine is collapsing.
Didn't say I couldn't.
Fabia, no! Oh gods, she's dead! Did anyone see that? The whole shrine just collapsed on her! Oh Fabia, why did you have to go in there? Poor sweet girl! I can't believe she is dead. Fabia, I mean. She walked into that empty shrine, and the next moment she is lying dead under a pile of rubble. The gods are cruel and unjust. She was like a daughter to me. I'm sorry, friend. It's
No,
not right
do,
for me
please.
to lay my burden upon you.
Ah. Like what I could say that would convince her.
Stop right there. I'm looking for Tiberius Quinctius Crispus, otherwise known as Quinctius. Do you know where he is? I'm not sure I believe that, so allow me to explain something to you. I am here with orders from Emperor Nero himself to find and execute the cultist Quinctius for terrible crimes against the Empire. So, if you tell me the truth, I will allow you to live. But if you lie to me or otherwise obstruct the Emperor's business in any way, I will put this arrow through your chest. Is that understood? You are not off to a good start. When I ask you a question, I expect an answer. Is that understood?
I'm tempted. I'm so tempted for the humor of it.
I would choose my next words more carefully if I were you. Is that understood?
Sure.
Then you're of no use to me. Do you have any last words? And there's a simple explanation for that. I lied. But if you want to know the truth before you die,
yes,
here it is. Once I'm done with you and Quintius, I intend to kill every last one of you wretched degenerates. And I can think of nothing I'd enjoy more.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Whoops. Okay.
The statues, they're alive.
I think I'm going. Yeah. All right. So, seems like a good place to say. And actually, I want to quickly look at. Turn. Wait, can't I? Oh, I can. That's what I want to do. And I'll say so that. I do wonder though. Well, something I kind of wish we had was like the different things, some way to view the different things that you've learned. I don't know what actually constitutes the White Hallway. Oh boy. Do wish there was a way to view the different things you have learned. Even just a way to view the various people you have met and little bios. Like that alone, I think would be helpful. Anyway, I'm gonna be stopping, and I probably can just reach out and ask. So, what exactly is the White Hallway? Because I haven't encountered it yet, and maybe it is a this is it, and I'm just not there yet, or it is a no. It's basically having entered the city. I don't know. I really don't know. All right. See you next time. And I will say this. I should say this first. I am enjoying this. I am finding this interesting, but I am a little concerned about information overload, mainly because the whole, like I just said, it would be nice if there were a way to have the bios, or just something so you can see that, and like, oh yeah, that's right, you're the Christian, you're the homosexual, you're the asshole. You know, it's like remembering that, you know, a record of that in the game would be helpful. All right, yeah, see you next time.